hopefully, I get the chance to go to the NBA. That's definitely the ultimate goal, and I'm not going to stop until I get there.
Marcus LoVett Jr., born March 4th, 1996. Basketball is still the most beautiful sport in the world, but its journey to the top can be harsh and soon fleeting if as little as one thing goes wrong or one tough decision is judged and acted on incorrectly. I call it the weeding out process the journey itself makes, because every player that picks up a basketball with dreams of making the NBA simply can't go. There's just not enough space. Those spots are reserved for the hardworking, the consistent, the productive, the lucky if you believe in that, and the ones that made all the correct decisions at the right time. Today's feature, Marcus LoVett Jr., was lucky enough to grow up in a time the internet and its social power was at one of its peaks. The power of being a sensation on YouTube was all the promotion you needed that got your name big enough to force its way on the NBA's radar, whether they liked it or not. The name of the game is still entertainment and filling the seats, so a player coming in with a fan base already built is like signing a music artist that already has a few hit songs under his belt. Although he was ranked barely in the top 100 by 247 and rated a 4-star recruit his senior year, on YouTube, Marcus LoVett Jr. was a sensation and even prodigy, if you will, where words like insane, crazy, dominates, and the best this and that were used to describe what he was doing on the high school level that amassed close to 20 million views altogether. In a sense, Marcus LoVett Jr. was already a household name. On the internet, that is, but seeing the world is glued to the internet, if you were interested at all in basketball at the time, you knew who Marcus LoVett Jr. was, including the NBA. All left to do then is show for your position you could bring some value to match them already being able to market you, and off you go, advancing in the journey to at least get your shot. LoVett Jr. would get his, being one of the hottest names his senior year in high school, receiving offers from top schools like Memphis, Kansas, and Illinois, choosing St. John's over them all for the chance to play right away and help a bad team the season before regain its promise. But then the left turn started to happen, and Marcus worked through those initially by being productive on the floor to the point he was on the cusp of being able to leave after one playing year at St. John's. He made the decision to return to school, injured himself, then made another huge decision to disappear altogether, and ever since then, the opportunity to play in the league has yet to come at 28 years old. One of the most talented guards of his era, but for these reasons, his growth was stunted. What happened? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Marcus LoVett Jr. is a point guard shooting guard from Fort Wayne, Indiana that grew up somewhat a prodigy and protege of his father, Marcus LoVett Sr., who was a pretty good basketball player himself. Jr., since his freshman year in high school, was a standout for Providence High in Burbank, California, averaging video game numbers against older competition, and went on to sweep in Player of the Year honors in the CIF through his junior season. During this time, he grew to be a YouTube sensation for his speed and quick handles in traffic, as well as his star personality. He moved to Chicago for his senior season and led Morgan Park, averaging 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists. Despite his rising internet fame and production, he was still rated a 4-star recruit, number 14 point guard in the country, and 98th nationally by 247 Composite. He was also still under 6 feet in my opinion, although listed just that. He chose St. John's University and came in with expectations to lead the team while bringing the show with him, and on the court he did until circumstances within and out of his control took over. Stunt number 1, redshirt freshman year. Entering St. John's in 2015, LoVett was the prize recruit for Chris Mullin, beginning his era taking over for Steve Lavin, who went to the NCAA tournament a season prior. But 2 days before the season was set to begin, the NCAA came back with their ruling on LoVett regarding his eligibility, and the news wasn't at all positive. because he had attended 3 different schools during his high school career and was behind on his credits, LoVett took night and summer courses to make up for it, but the NCAA decided it was too late and wasn't enough to meet the requirements to be a full qualifier for athletics. This meant he'd have to redshirt his true freshman year and focus on his schoolwork before he could play. Missing the 2015-16 season, I feel, hurt LoVett Jr. for a few different reasons. First off, Chris Mullin brought him in as his chosen star to lead his show, taking over as coach, and would have gave him the keys from day one to run a ship that had no other challengers for the ball on the team. He would have played heavy minutes and every decision would have ran through him on offense, giving him the perfect opportunity to be himself as the score-first point guard he is, establishing himself for what came next. For the 2016-17 season, future NBA point guard Shamorie Ponds joined the team, who was literally the splitting image of Marcus LoVett, down to both being smaller lefties that shot first, everything else second. Ponds, as a true freshman, led the 2 in scoring, rebounds, steals, and minutes, while less turnovers than LoVett. Marcus had a solid redshirt freshman season as well at 15.9 points per game, 3.8 assists, and shot 38% from 3. Even though they both had great seasons, they looked like literally the same player, with Ponds younger, better on offense, bigger, and turned the ball over less. In my opinion, he should have taken his chances with the draft after that year, instead made a decision to come back to school and further hurt his chances. Stunt number 2, getting injured. Coming back to school left LoVett open for the worst to happen to a player that gave up the chance to turn pro, even if slight, and that's injuring themselves. During a fall November 26 game against Central Florida, LoVett Jr. sprained the left MCL in his knee and was sidelined indefinitely after 7 games into the 17-18 season. Games where he posted averages less than his first year nearly across the board. He was supposed to make it back before the season got too far away from the team, but the swelling and soreness, as he says, didn't get better fast enough until months went by without their second option. Option number 1, Shamorie Ponds, in his absence, went crazy, averaging over 21 points per game, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, and played 37 minutes per game, including having the ability to build off the season he had before. If you ask me, Ponds should have left after that season himself. LoVett's draft stock all but disappeared off the radar, having missed so much time away from the court due to what's considered a significant injury. What made matters worse was he never returned on the season to show he could recover and be his same self or better. Stunt number 3, leaving at a bad time. And lastly, in my opinion, LoVett Jr. left St. John's at a bad time and it cost him his chance. At the point of his injury, Marcus had a serious decision to make, but none of them should have been to pursue a pro career, NBA much less, having a down year when you were healthy than the one you had as a redshirt freshman, then getting injured at the beginning of the season and never returning to the court. So much, I believe, worked against him at that point, like being out of sight, out of mind, and teams forgetting what he could do on the court. He was also injured without anyone knowing what he would look like when he regained his health, which is why coming back to finish the season was so important, sorta like what Cole Anthony did in his 1 year at North Carolina. On top of all that, he simply hadn't built enough cachet to give himself the best chance making the NBA, unless he didn't care about that league at the time and was satisfied going overseas to join that hamster wheel over there. He needed more games under his belt than the 1 full season and 7 games where he left hobbled and running from situation to situation like he did in high school. Again, Shamorie Ponds stayed that season and came back for his junior season and made the NBA, so for LoVett there was no rush. Either you leave after that redshirt freshman year or wait till you build the right season. He rushed to run out the doors and went undrafted and had to go overseas, where he's played for 7 teams in 6 years in situations you can be traded mid-season or even game if they choose to. At 28, who knows what could happen, but as far as NBA, I think that dream fleeted the second he decided to leave St. John's prematurely. All in all, Marcus LoVett Jr. still played professionally all over the world, which is an experience like none other. His journey to the NBA was decided by decisions and results of those not going in his favor. Salute, much respect, still a hell of a high school player, but for these reasons, his growth was stunted. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.